friends, it's Lisa and welcome to my March journal with me. So I'm going to be setting up my bullet journal for the month of March, and this month I decided to go with a honey pot, honeycomb sort of theme. I ended up seeing this picture pop up on my Pinterest page and I just really liked it and thought it'd be a cute theme for my bullet journal. So I haven't been able to track down the original artist of this picture, but I will have the link to the Pinterest post at least, and I will continue to look for the original artist. So I liked the idea of doing the honey theme as well as like some green foliage, I guess, throughout these spreads. So on my title cover page, I just drew a pot of honey, and you will kind of see me struggle not only with blending kind of the colors in the honey pot, but also me drawing the honeycomb. Sometimes my hand like completely glitched out and I drew the shapes of the honeycomb so weird, and I apologize if that bothers you, but I feel like it's fine. It's a little imperfect, but the point gets across. But I am drawing a pot of honey and then some of the leaves, and then I also do rip out some brown paper to use for the titles throughout this spread, so I did that for March. And then I'm just drawing some honeycomb on the bottom left hand side and also the top right, just to add a little bit of the honeycomb aspect into the title page. So that is what the title page looks like, and now we're moving on to my calendar spread. So what I decided to do for the calendar spread this month is, instead of just doing the normal like grid, just drawing out all the black lines and making it like one thing, I decided to do these like individual boxes for the month so I could do different colored boxes, if that makes sense. So I'm going in with like 3 different shades of like warm brown and like the yellow colors that I use to draw the boxes of the month. So now I'm going in and just numbering some of the boxes to know what days they correlate for, and then I'm also going to go in and draw some more of those green leaves and more of the honeycomb, and then I also rip out some brown paper to do the title for the calendar page. I also realized that like while filming this voiceover, I realized I forgot to do my trackers, so I will add that in after. But every month kind of on this page, I keep track of my growth on my YouTube channel, my Bookstagram, and my journaling Instagram. I just like to be able to see that growth every month, and I realized I forgot to put that in on this calendar spread, so I probably will add that in on the like right hand side in that little empty space. I'll probably add it in there, but yes, I did forget, but I will add it after this. So yeah, like I said, I'm going in and drawing some more of the green leaves as well as the honeycomb, and then on the bottom right hand side I will draw another jar of honey, and this time I did like a little bit of a lid sort of thing, like a bit of cloth over the top, just to add something a little bit different. But yeah, that is what the calendar page looked like. So that is the calendar page done. So now we're moving on to my next spreads, which will be the book spread and the movies and shows that I've watched throughout the whole month of March. So on the left side, I will keep track of the books that I read throughout the month, and then on the right side, I will have the movies and shows that I watch, and I'm writing the titles on the brown pieces of paper again. I also decided to keep these spreads pretty simple and minimal because I wanted to make sure that I had the space to write out the books and all of the things that I wanted to put on these spreads. So on the book spread side, I'm just drawing again another jar of honey, and then on the right side, I'll draw some honeycomb and more green leaves, but I really just wanted it to be simple, so I made sure I had enough room to actually write down the titles of the things that I was reading and watching. So now those pages are done, we are now moving on to my habit tracker spread, and I will say my camera does cut off at some point during this page, but you honestly don't miss a whole lot. What I decided to do for my habit tracker spread is to draw honeycomb for the boxes that I would need to fill in. So right now I'm just going in and numbering and drawing the honeycomb boxes, and then anytime I do that habit, I will color it in with the yellow marker, and I just thought that that would be a fun and creative way to bring in the theme to my habit tracker spread while also being functional. And once again, I'm going in with that brown craft paper to write out the title, habit tracker, for this page. And yeah, I'm really excited to see this spread kind of fill out throughout the month. It is a bit plain right now, but once I go in and start using the yellow marker to fill in the habits when I do them every day, I feel like that will add a little bit to the spread and make it a bit more colorful and a bit more interesting. And I'm just really excited to see like what it looks like once it starts to get filled out. So in case you were wondering, I'm tracking the same things that I typically track every month. So when I read, when I do my AM and PM skincare, when I drink enough water, when I wash my hair, and also when I post to my two Instagrams, my Bookstagram and my journaling Instagram. But now I'm just adding some of those green leaves to the kind of corner of this page in that empty space, and then that is my habit tracker spread done. So now on the right side, we are going to be doing my monthly favorite spread, and this spread took a bit of time only because what I decided to do was split up the boxes for the different like sections of my monthly faves in like this honeycomb pattern. So I leave 4 boxes completely empty to keep like the actual favorites that I want to track separate. So I have a section for music, entertainment, lifestyle, and memories. And then as you can see with the honeycomb kind of surrounding those boxes, I went in with the yellow markers and colored it in. I just thought it would, I don't know, be a bit interesting, add the honeycomb aspect into these spreads, and just be a bit different and unique. So after adding that brown craft paper at the top, I just go in and do the titles for the different sections of my monthly favorites. And then I'm also going in on the sides of the brown pieces of paper and adding more of the honeycomb. I just thought it would look a bit better if it went through the whole page. And now that monthly favorites page is done, so now we are on to my weekly spreads. So I decide to do my weekly spreads all at once. I know a lot of people kind of do their weekly spreads throughout the month, but I figured while I'm in the journaling zone and have all the markers and the supplies and stuff out, I figured I would just set it up now. I also find that when I need to write something in that's happening later on, it's just easier to have those spreads done and ready for me to use. So this is the first week spread. It's pretty simple. Did those types of different colored boxes like I did on the calendar page for this month, and then did like a little honeycomb shape for the numbers. And what I decided to do for most of these weekly spreads is have 6 different boxes. So I'll have 5 for like the actual days of the week, and then the weekend will just be in one box, just because I find that I don't need to write that much out on the weekend. So having it in one box will be plenty of space. So as you can see, we've moved on to the second week spread, so I decided to bring that honeycomb thing back in and separate the days of the week in those honeycomb shapes, so that is what I did for that week. Now for the third week, I decided to do something pretty simple. I'm just ripping up some of the scraps of the brown paper and writing the days of the week for the third week on them, and then I just kind of randomly place them throughout the page, and it's kind of like that scattered weekly setup look that I like to do. So I decided to add some of those green leaves just because I thought that this page looked a bit empty and a bit plain, even though I do want them to be empty enough where I can actually fit what I need to write down. I just wanted to add a little bit of something. I might go in and add more green leaves after this too. So now for the fourth week of the month, I decided to do a kind of edge or border on this page, so it's only on the right side, it's kind of on the edge of the page. I drew a honey jar again, and then I draw a line kind of halfway through the jar and do some of the leaves on the outside of it. I don't think I'm explaining this very well, but you'll see what I mean in a second. And then again, going in and separating the spread into 6 boxes for the days of the week. So now we're moving on to the final weekly spread. So the final week only had 3 days. So what I decided to do was separate it into 4 sections. So I have the 3 days, the last 3 days of the month. And then in that fourth box, I decided to do a bit of a drawing. I decided to draw some of the honeycomb that I've been using throughout these spreads, as well as the green leaves that I've been using, just to kind of fill up that empty space. And because this month there were 5 weekly spreads, I ended up with this empty page on the right side. So what I decided to do was do a quote page. I don't always do quote pages. Sometimes I like to do them, sometimes I don't, but I thought I had this empty space, so might as well. So I am once again drawing another pot of honey, a big pot of honey for this quote page, and I decided it would only be fitting to use a Winnie the Pooh quote for this type of theme. So the quote that I went with was, "A day without a friend is like a pot without a drop of honey," and I just thought it was really cute and used the word honey, which was the whole theme. So I'm really happy with the quote that I found, and I just like the way that this page turned out. But that is everything. So that was my March journal with me. Here is a final flip through of what all of the spreads ended up looking like. I'm really happy with how all of these spreads came out. I really like the theme. Again, as always, if you do monthly bullet journal setups, I would love to know what your theme for March is. I'm always curious to know what people decide to do for their monthly themes. But yeah, I think that that is going to complete this journal with me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.